everyone, it's Haley, and today I'm going to be doing a recommended reads for my top 10 trilogies. So this is going to be the first in kind of a series of videos that I'm going to be doing. So first, this one is obviously trilogies, then I'm going to be doing one for longer series, and then I'm going to be doing one for duologies. Now those will be coming once I read more longer series and duologies, so stay tuned for those, but for now I have lots of trilogies to talk about. So I'm only going to be talking about trilogies that are already, all the books are already published, and I have obviously read all of them. So without further ado, let's get into it. So to give this video a little bit more organization, I have divided the trilogies into categories based on their genre. So the first category is contemporary, and for that I am recommending Anna and the French Kiss by Stephanie Perkins. So this trilogy consists of the first book, Anna and the French Kiss, the second book, Lola and the Boy Next Door, and the third book, Isla and the Happily Ever After. And this series is actually a trilogy of companion novels, so they each take place in a different place in the world, and they follow a different character. So they're all novels in their own right that you don't necessarily have to read in order, and you can read each on their own, but they are companion novels in the fact that all of the characters show up in each of the novels. So the order is Anna, Lola, and then Isla. So Anna will show up in Lola, Lola and Anna will show up in Isla, if that makes sense. That's how they're companion novels. These books are really awesome because you get to travel the world throughout them. So you get to go to France, San Francisco, and New York, and they are really awesome because they have these really cute romances, but they still do deal with some like pretty not really intense subject matter, but they're not just kind of flat contemporaries, because there is more going on in them besides the romance, which I really loved. Stephanie Perkins is really able to build up the setting and also the characters. Her characters are really lifelike and quirky and just super fun and people that you just want to be friends with. It's honestly such a great series, and each story is unique in its own way, but they also connect, which is really awesome. So I really love this trilogy. The next category is paranormal. So for this one I have Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children trilogy by Ransom Riggs. So the first book is Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. Wow, that was a struggle. The second book is Hollow City, and the third book is Library of Souls. I really love this trilogy because it's so unique. It's unlike anything I've ever read before, and it has these really cool creepy pictures in it, but it's not a creepy story necessarily. I think the first one is creepy because you're kind of getting used to it, but once you're used to it, it's just a really cool story that's really built around these pictures, and I think it's so cool and fascinating that the pictures were like there before the story, and then they just kind of tie into the story, and it's kind of woven neatly around these pictures. It's such a interesting and just really amazing series, trilogy, and I really recommend it. The next category is fantasy. So first I have the Grisha trilogy by Leigh Bardugo, which consists of the first one, Shadow and Bone, then Siege and Storm, and then Rune and Rising. This is a really cool fantasy trilogy that's based off of, it takes place in the Grisha universe, which is a world that's kind of based off of Russia. So it's this really cool elaborate world that deals with these powers. These Grisha have these special powers, and there's like different sects of them. It's really interesting, and the main character finds out that she's a Grisha, and it's her kind of trying to deal with life like now that she finds out she's this powerful being when she used to think she was this poor little girl, this little orphan. So it's a really cool story, and it's once again really unique. I love fantasies that are super unique, and it's like a world that you need to really pay attention to the book to understand. It's not too complicated of a world, but it is really intricately woven, which I think is really awesome. And there is another trilogy, I think it's going to be a trilogy, but I'm not positive, that takes place in this universe, so it's just ongoing. Next is the New Soul trilogy by Jodi Meadows, which consists of Incarnate, Asunder, and Infinite. Now I'm surprised I don't hear more about these books on BookTube because they are super cool. It's about this world where the same thousands of souls have been reincarnating for millions and millions of years, and then all of a sudden the main character Anna is this new soul that's born, but in order for her to be born, one of the old souls had to die. So it's kind of her dealing with this world where no one wants her and everyone kind of hates her because they blame her for the killing of the other soul that she replaced. So it's a really cool story, and it's kind of a mystery story because you're trying to figure out what is going on, because you know there's just something that's not quite right. So it really kind of pulls you in and has you along for the ride trying to figure out what's going on. It's really, really cool, and I highly recommend it. Next is one that can kind of fit into the fantasy category, kind of fit into the paranormal category, and kind of into historical fiction category, and that is The Infernal Devices by Cassandra Clare. So the first book is Clockwork Angel, then we have Clockwork Prince, and finally we have Clockwork Princess. These books are very heavy. So I actually really prefer these books to the Mortal Instruments series. I'm not a huge fan of the Mortal Instruments series. I liked it when I was a kid, but then I reread it and it wasn't the same for me, so I didn't really enjoy it as much. But I do think the whole Shadowhunter thing is really interesting, and I think combining it with the history in these books, it's really cool. Like, the setting of it is really amazing. The love triangle in this book is the one love triangle, well, one of the only ones that really doesn't bug me, because I'm not a huge fan of love triangles, but the characters in this book are really amazing. I love Tessa and Will and Jeb. I just love all of them, and I think that you would really enjoy these if you enjoyed the Mortal Instruments series. These are the prequel series because they take place long before. And the final category is dystopian, which of course is the largest category because dystopian and trilogies just seem to go hand in hand. So the first one is quite obviously The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. This is just a really fabulous, which consists of Hunger Games, Catching Fire, and Mockingjay. This is just a really fabulous trilogy. It's one of the first dystopians that I feel like a lot of people have read, and it's one of the first ones that I read, and I just think that it's so unique and so cool. Like, the whole concept of it is absolutely terrifying, but really well executed and just amazing. That was kind of a pun. But it's just a really brutal world, but it's kind of just so cool. There's something about it that you don't want to enjoy it when you're reading it because it's just so sick, but you just really do. Like, it's about these games where kids are killing each other, so you don't really want to enjoy it, but you do. So it's cool. Then on that same line, we have Divergent by Veronica Roth. So we have Divergent, Insurgent, and then of course Allegiant, which a lot of people hated the ending of this trilogy, but I think it was a bold move and it was really interesting. It was kind of frustrating, like it was frustrating and heartbreaking, but it's something that you don't really read usually, so I think it was a really interesting move, and it really kind of made me love the series because it was something that I hadn't seen done before, because it wasn't the most unique series before, but after that, it was really cool. It's kind of like Hunger Games in the fact that it's about like the factioning and everything, and like society's divided, but it kind of takes it one step further with the whole idea of they're divided into these societies based on their personality traits and where they think they should fit, and each society is really intricate in the fact that it has like this thing that they always do based on these personality traits. It's a really cool and interesting world, not quite as horrific, I would say, as The Hunger Games, but still very horrifying. Next is The Darkest Minds by Alexandra Bracken, which is the darkest minds, never fade, and in the afterlight, which make a sentence, which is awesome. But this series is really cool because it's like this X-Men thing. Woo, almost dropped them. But it deals with these kids who have superpowers, and a bunch of kids have died off because of this disease, but these are the kids who didn't, and they have these superpowers. They're put into these kind of concentration camp-like things, and it's about a girl who escapes from one and her story as she's trying to run from these people who want to capture her, and obviously government corruption, all that good dystopian jazz. Well, not very good. But this one is a very, I would say, horrifying one, but it's really fabulous. They read like movies. They're super quick and super cool. Then we have the Legend trilogy by Marie Lu. So this is Legend, then Prodigy and then Champion. Sorry, those were really out of order. These books are really cool in the fact that they have two different characters on two different sides of the story. So we have a rich character and a poor character who is actually a fugitive and the most wanted fugitive because he's like this mass criminal. It's really crazy. So their world is really just going to crap, and you get to see these two characters meet, and they're from completely different worlds, seeing completely different sides of the story, and the meeting and the intersecting of the stories makes the book and the whole entire trilogy really, really cool and really unique, which is very rare in dystopian, so it's awesome. And then finally we have Shatter Me by Tahereh Mafi. So we have Shatter Me, Unravel Me, and then of course Ignite Me, the best one. This is one of those series that just gets better and better as it goes on. You get to see the characters develop, and you think you know what's going to happen in the first one, but you really don't, which is really cool. All the characters develop in their own way, and it's just this really interesting idea of this girl can't be touched because anyone she touches will die. It's super interesting. The story, like each book is so unique, but they all combine to make this awesome story, and I really love this trilogy. So that's going to be all for today's video. I hope it was helpful to you guys. Let me know what some of your favorite trilogies are, and yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!